Solomon, the king of Israel, was filled with pride and joy when he announced that the Lord had built a magnificent temple for him to dwell in forever. The assembly of Israel was standing there, and the king blessed them. He then prayed to the Lord, the God of Israel, who had fulfilled his promise to David his father, who had not chosen a city or ruler over his people Israel since the day he brought his people out of Egypt. Solomon's father David had the heart to build a temple for the name of the Lord, but the Lord said that David was not the one who would build it. The Lord had kept the promise, and Solomon succeeded David as the king of Israel. He placed the ark in the temple, which contained the covenant of the Lord with the people of Israel. Solomon stood before the altar of the Lord and spread out his hands toward heaven. He prayed that God would keep his promises to David, who had promised to have a successor to sit before him on the throne of Israel, if only his descendants were careful in their actions. God would then let his word that David had promised come true. God would listen to Solomon's servant's prayer and plea for mercy, and hear the cry and prayer that Solomon was praying in his presence. He would also hear the supplications of his servant and the people Israel when they prayed toward this temple. God would forgive the sins of his people Israel and bring them back to the land they had given them and their ancestors. God would forgive the sins of his people Israel when they were defeated by an enemy and turned to praise his name. He would also forgive the sins of his people Israel when they were afflicted by disasters or diseases. God would forgive and deal with everyone according to their hearts, so that they would fear and walk in obedience to him. God would also forgive foreigners who came from a distant land because of his great name and mighty hand. He would do whatever the foreigner asked of God, so that all the peoples of the earth may know your name and fear you. God would hear Solomon's prayers and pleas when he went to war against his enemies and when they prayed to him. He would uphold their cause and hear their pleas when they sin against him.